All right, all right. What's going on, party people? This your man Griff. Um, Background don't seem like it's working too good and everything, but I'm gonna try to work with it here. Let me get my chair so I can just be still. All right, there we go. Um, I just wanted to give a shout out to y'all. Thanks y'all for joining me and the wife for the hold on, joining us for the live that we did, YouTube live on Sunday. Um, really appreciate y'all attendance to that. Um, Me and her have been talking, and I was really getting concerned because of so many, as we talked about in the live, a lot of notaries are just having a very hard time understanding what they're supposed to be doing as a notary at these closings. Not recognizing when a person's supposed to sign, what they're supposed to sign, um, stamping, all of that. you know, and I'm concerned, honestly, very concerned. And this is part of the reason why I try to, whenever I can, do a document review, even if it's just over the phone. I did one last night over the phone, um, listening to her talk about the documents, anything that I couldn't recall from memory. She was just shooting a quick picture of it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know what this is, and help her out, and got through it, and she did excellent. She called me last night and told me she did great. So I think she's down in Florida. So people are moving along forward, but there's some issues there with after the training is over, people truly understanding what they're supposed to be doing with the documents. And I still don't understand where the disconnect is. As I said in the live, either the instructors, their method and their way of instructing and communicating, or it's the person's ability to comprehend the information, or it's a combination of the two, because they don't understand their comprehension level of the way they learn, which that's what my wife talked about, prohibits them from really understanding what the instructor is saying. And sometimes instructors can be very general in their speech and what they say because they're trying to hit certain highlight points or certain things that they really want to cover. And a lot of the nuances isn't important to them because they figure you should just be able to pick that up. And when people don't pick that up and the instructor doesn't realize that, people get lost. It's just that simple. People get lost. So we, discussed that and everything. But this morning I also wanted to talk to y'all and just say, hey, look, if for some reason, all of a sudden, the signing prices tank, I mean, just bottom out all of a sudden, just like nobody offering us anything of any high number, I might be to blame. It might be my fault, y'all, because I guess yesterday, well, not guess I did. Yesterday I did a signing, um, and it only paid $25. So I know the social media price checking, notary price checkers are probably, ready to picket, march, protest, or whatever on me for doing such. But it was an order that needed to be done. It was in my zip code. And one of my philosophies, as you heard me say many times, do the orders in your zip code because that helps reduce on your travel time, gas, and all of that. So if it's in your zip code and it was only 6 minutes from the house, might even been less, but it said on 6 minutes on the map, and you knock those out, So it was 6 minutes from the house. Literally, I could have walked there. I mean, honest, I could have walked there. And the situation was that the couple had already done had already done the closing, but there were documents that weren't they didn't have the lady's name on it correctly. So I think it was like a middle initial was missing and all of that. So yeah, I guess instead of her just adding it at the time, they had to redo certain documents, write to council, all of that. So they got all that stuff done. They needed somebody to just take it over there to her, have her and her husband re-sign the deed, re-sign a couple of other documents, and that was it. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And I got that order last Thursday afternoon, went over there and knocked it out. So I figured, probably by the end of the week, that $25 fee that I took will reverberate through the notary world. And all of a sudden, all the prices may drop by like 35%. And nobody's making money now, I guess. But, as notaries, sometimes the orders come in that need to be done, and the value of it is literally not that much for it, because the time to do it literally took me 10 minutes. 10 minutes, 6 minutes away from my house. The question would be, how can you justify not doing it? How can you justify not taking the order that's 6 minutes from your house, that more than likely is only going to take 10 minutes to do, and you're getting $25 for 10 minutes of your time? I mean, to me, I don't see where that's a loss. I really don't. You're in good with the company. They appreciate you taking time out to do that. I just don't see where it's not a win for you if you do that. Please tell me in the comment section how that's hurting the notary industry, the notary business, or anybody. I just didn't see it, and and like I said, I took it because it was in the zip code, but I also took it to see what type of negative impact it would have on me, and I honestly didn't see any whatsoever. I didn't see any negative impact at all. So, and I was able to squeeze it in between two signings. I had a 10:30. I met them at noon, and then I got to my 1 o'clock. So between 10:30 and 1, I knocked out 3 quick signings, and made whatever money I made. I can't even remember what. Yesterday my 10:30 was $85. So you're talking about my 10:30 was 85 plus 25 plus 125. So I made 235 in that short amount of time. That was a good day then, plus the other one that I did. So I made 320 yesterday. I had another one that got canceled, so it was no big deal. I don't even remember how much that one was, but that got canceled, But the thing is, it didn't interfere with anything. It didn't break anything. It didn't cause any hurt or harm or make notaries look bad or any of that. So as a notary, signing agent, and as a business owner, you do what you need to do to put money in your coffers. It's just that simple. My goal is 300 a day, ideally 5, but at least 300 a day. The green thing keep popping up. 300 a day, and that helped me hit my goal. Because keep in mind, like I said, another order canceled. Probably, I think that one was like an $85, $90 order. So that one canceled. So, oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at it here. It is canceled. That was 105. So had I did that order plus 105, I would have made 425. Gotcha. I would have made 425, and then minus that $25 that I did, so I would have made it even 400 yesterday. But because the 105 order, $105, because that canceled, I would have been below my mark. So it worked out. So taking that $25 order helped me hit my goal of at least $300 a day. That's where I want to be at, and I'm on target for that right now. It's just that simple and everything. But also, just wanted to give y'all an update on being full-time notary, because a lot of you I've shared, I've talked to, y'all shared with me, that's y'all goal to be full-time doing this business. And I tell you, I've seen more cancellations than I ever seen before. I mean, when I was part-time, it was like none of the orders that I got, it was like very few cancellations. Once I got booked, that was it. But now full time, and I don't know if just something changed overall, but it's like you really got to be on the. You got to sometimes take a chance and sort of overbook yourself, because if you don't, you might not have any orders. And me slightly overbooking myself sometimes has saved my daily average of what I want to make, because even yesterday I had a 5 o'clock and a 6 o'clock, which I rarely ever have them back to back like that. It was easy, it was doable to get to them and do them. But had I not, and see, I originally had the 6 o'clock first, and honestly, by mistake, I took the 5 o'clock because I hadn't updated my calendar. So that meant I had a 5 and a 6, but then the 6 canceled on me for whatever reason, you know. And even today, I have an 8 o'clock that got canceled, So the 8 o'clock canceled. I got one at 10, then at 3, then at 6. So that means I got time in there to add something else. And based off of what I got going on today, I got so I got 310 that I'm making today. So if that I hit my goal for the day, it would have been 435 if I would have kept the 8 o'clock, because that was 125. So I had 100, 125, 85, 125, 125 got canceled. So that dropped me down to 310. So I'm also talking to y'all about how you got to play the numbers here. Okay. 'Cause some of y'all like to play lotto anyway. So you got to play your numbers right when you full time, especially when you're working with the signing services. Now, I don't know how it will roll if you with um, a direct client, directly working with a local company, or even an out of town company where they're just contacting you directly, but you can still have cancellations, because a lot of times it's not the signing company it's not even the signing company that's canceling, meaning the source of the cancellation. It's the title company, it's the loan officer or underwriter, all of them, they're canceling. So don't think that, oh, well, if I get direct, that's going to eliminate all cancellations. Cancellations don't happen when you're direct. Cancellations happen because there's a concern or issue between the title and all the people, all the other players. Signing company ain't got nothing to do with that. Signing company is just a neutral third party between you and them to get you orders. That's it. So when you're working a signing company angle, you really got to make sure you sometimes may have to throw some extra orders in there during the day just to balance it out. And it's like when I put in the extra 2 or 3 orders, one of them always gets canceled. So I end up still meeting my goal. Been nice. I could have made $500 or $600 that day, but things change for whatever reason, and I'm looking here at 1, 2, 3 different cancellations with 1, 3, 4. So stuff cancels to me now all the time. And then there's some companies, when you look at it, there's certain companies that get a lot of cancellation. So when you take an order with a certain company and they might have a lot of orders and they pay good, but they also have a lot of cancellations, you have to be a little bit mindful of that. So, and there's one particular company that I've dealt with. They have a whole lot of cancellations to the point to where I'm very skittish about taking the orders because the cancellation rate is just so high. And even if you don't get the cancellation, and I still consider this a cancellation, they may not, the director say, hey, the order's been canceled, but sometimes you won't even get the documents. So those are things you have to take in account or in consideration when you're doing this full time. Which companies are constantly last minute with the documents, which companies are constantly, oops, the documents never come and then they don't tell you. And then when you call the customer to let them know, hey, I'm running late because the documents, and they're telling you, oh, it's been canceled. And you're like, okay, wait a minute. And then you got companies that they have a high cancellation rate. Why? I have no idea. I got too much going on to even worry about it. I just know that, okay, when I see an order from this company, there's a high chance that there's going to be a cancellation. There's a 30% chance for me right now, on average, that with certain companies, there's going to be a cancellation. Even if the company books me out. I mean, I'm booked all the way out to the 17th of the month and the 19th. Is that it? Where am I? What's the? Yeah. So I got 1, 2, 3 that I'm booked on the 17th already. And I'm already booked for one on the 19th. And the 18th. I haven't added that yet to here, but it's on my other calendar because I can't get in contact with the guy. And yeah, so I got one on the 18th, so I got to give him a call to see if I can get in contact with him. I've already called several times. I'm gonna call again, but because I still got 9 days, not necessarily pressed right now. And they might be out of town or something to that effect. So I'm gonna call them again and see what I can get done and all of that. But what I'm saying is that you really gotta have your head on a swivel when it comes to these orders when you're full time, because orders coming in and you're like, well, I don't need to take no order because I got my 5 for the day or my 3 for the day, and then all of a sudden 2 of them get canceled, and then now you're scrambling. So sometimes you just gotta take a chance and be like, all right, there's this 5 o'clock that I'm already booked for, and then there's a 6:30, and it's a ride to get to that 6:30, and they paying 125. All right, I'm going to go for it. So now I got a 5 o'clock and a 6:30. So that means I got to get in there, get that 5 o'clock done. No small talk, a little small talk maybe, but get in there, get it done, knowing that there's a chance, 80% chance I'm not going to get the documents in time. I'm going to have time to prep them. So I gotta be ready to rock and roll. And this is why, again, I constantly talk about y'all being good notaries, understanding where you sign, what you don't. In short, you notarize all affidavits. You notarize the deed, mortgage of trust, or deed of trust, whichever state you're in. Each mortgage, deed of trust, deed, all three are the same thing. So if you hear me say deed, I'm talking about the mortgage, the actual mortgage deed. That document needs to be notarized, and all affidavits. You got signature affidavits, survey affidavit, owner affidavits, occupancy affidavits. All of those need to be notarized. Okay, so you have to stop saying I don't know what to notarize. You do. Anything that's an affidavit and the deed, that's what you notarize. Okay, that is what you notarize. You don't notarize anything where you're notarizing your signature. Those ID verifications where they want you to put your stamp. No, you don't put your stamp there. Even, and especially if there's no acknowledgement of I'm acknowledging a person's signature, that they're acknowledging certain information. Nah, because they have people signing those ID verifications because they want to try to get you to put your stamp on there. And on those you don't. And I already talked to the NNA and they said no. They said no. You don't put your stamp on anything where there's not proper acknowledgement up there. Okay, period. So you don't do that. But all affidavits and the deed and other things, you got marriage affidavits, again, the name affidavit, signature affidavit, you got all those different affidavits, and that's what you need to be notarizing, okay? Period. So that should be straight with everybody, that those are what you're supposed to be notarizing, okay? If you see the word seal, ignore that. From my research and what I looked up, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, but the word seal, SEAL, in parentheses, back in the day, people, you would just put a stamp on something that would be their way of, how they signed their name. They didn't necessarily have a signature. That's what they would do to sign their name. And they still have the thing seal. Okay, you don't put your stamp there. You don't stamp everywhere you see the word seal, especially on the signer's line. You don't do that. Okay. And some people been putting out there, because the word seal is at the end of the notary signature line, you don't have to sign that. If that's the case, somebody, and please give me some receipts on that, because I've never been told that you don't sign where it says notary for the signature, because the word seal is on the document. I don't know where people are getting stuff from, or why they're getting it, or who teaching them, or whatever. But no, that's truly not the case. And again, if I'm incorrect, please correct me. Send me some information that says otherwise. Okay, because this is what I'm out here about, trying to make sure we got the right information. But again, the people telling y'all stuff, make them prove it. Have them give you receipts on this thing, okay? Because people are being told stuff and then they going out here doing it, and then the signing company is asking you, why did you do that? What's wrong with you? Where did you train from? Who taught you that? And then all you got to say is, well, that's what they said in the Facebook group. That's not going to cut it. That's one of the quick ways for you to be basically excommunicated out, to be considered not a preferred notary, because you're taking advice from Facebook groups. Okay, so that's the key thing. So that's why I'm saying you got to be to a point to where you can rock and roll quickly, efficiently, at any time. I know that you want to get these documents way ahead of time so you can look at them, especially for your first signing. But I'm telling you, if you plan on making money in this business, you got to be ready to rock and roll at a moment's notice. And again, it is not difficult to see where people need to sign. It's really plain and clear. It's not going to always, they're not going to always have their name printed, but you're going to see that, okay, borrower, co-borrower. And here's the thing that's been tripping people up. People will see borrower and then co-borrower, and then on another page, they'll see borrower and borrower without the co. And that's throwing people off. They're like, okay, so then the other person don't need to sign because they're not the borrower. Co-borrower, borrower is the same thing. And yes, it would be so much simpler if the companies would just have the language the same across the board everywhere. There's supposed to be two: borrower, co-borrower, or just borrower, but they don't. On the loan application, I think they have co-borrower, And then on several documents, they have borrower. Sometimes you'll see on some companies, they'll have on the deed, they'll have the person's name and then the word borrower next to their name, and then they'll have the other person's name with no borrower or co-borrower, and it's just indicating that they're the main borrower. They're not the borrower at all on the document, okay? Because they're not on the promissory note. So if they're not on the promissory note, then they're not a borrower. If they're not on the loan application, they're not going to be on the promissory note because they're not a borrower, because they didn't take their financial information on the loan application to determine whether they qualify or can assist in qualifying for that loan. It's that simple. If you see a document that just has lines on it, more than likely at the top of the page, it has their name up there. So if you see where it says borrower and it has John Jones and Jane Jones, and then you see just these two lines at the bottom of this paragraph, they sign that. Okay, they sign that. And she's like, well, I'm not a borrower at all, but they still have their name because, see, sometimes they have those title documents, those documents are specifically for the title company. And they will put both of these people's names up there, and they will put their names in the area where it says borrower. And they'll have both people's names up there. They want both people to sign that document. If you don't see both people's names on there, then both don't need to sign that. That is a safe rule of thumb. Now, if you're confused, if you're unsure, then feel free to call them to double check. So if you get the documents early enough, then go ahead on and look through your documents. And when you see that, call and ask them. But I'll be honest, you're not going to really pick up on that because you're going to be so focused on just going through, just trying to see in general where people need to sign and where you need to sign. You're not going to pick up on those nuances as a new notary just yet. So if you get into the thick of things and then they start pushing back like, well, I don't need to sign this because I'm not a borrower. What I tell them is your name is on this document, then you need to sign it. And they're like, well, I don't feel comfortable signing it. Then let's get the loan officer on the phone. So while you getting the loan officer on the phone, I'm gonna get the signing company on the phone. I just tell them I'm gonna get my contact on the phone, and we're gonna discuss this out. So these are things that you can do. That's why I say don't get twisted all up trying to do these signings, even though it might be last minute. So if somebody's pushing back, well, she's not supposed to be on the loan at all. And unfortunately, they tell these people, yeah, she's not on the loan. Well, yes, she's not on the loan, but she still has documents that she needs to sign. And unfortunately, they don't share that with them. So you get there and they're like, well, I'm not supposed to be signing nothing. I'm just supposed to sign the deed. Why am I signing the right to cancel? Why am I signing the closing disclosure? Why am I signing this document and that document, name affidavit, signature affidavit? Sometimes they have them, which I forget, it was one particular document. I don't forget what it was, but they'll have them signing all kinds of documents, and and they're like, well, I shouldn't be signing because I'm not on the loan. True. Here's the promissory note. You're not on the promissory note. Here's the loan application. You're not on the loan application. Here's the addendum to the loan application. You're not on that. Therefore, that is correct. You are not on the loan, but you are on the mortgage, depending on the state. Some states require the spouse to be on there. And there's these other documents that you have to sign. Now, if for some reason, sir or ma'am, you do not want to sign these documents that your name is printed on, then we need to contact your representative, your lender representative, and I will contact my contact so we can get all of this worked out. And they will inform you of why your name is on there and whether or not you need to sign those. And we'll go from there. You're not there to try to make a determination and say, okay, well, then don't sign it. Don't do that. Notary's been doing that stuff. Don't do that. You don't feel comfortable signing something. You don't think you're supposed to be signing something. Got it. Let's get the right people on the phone. Let's have a conversation and let's get it done. But what a lot of notaries do, especially those who are trying to be zipping in and zipping out, They won't even, okay, don't sign it there. And they keep going. And then they send the whole packet back with the person's signature not on there. And they're like, well, they didn't want to sign. Easy way for you to get excommunicated. Easy way, because they're going to say, why didn't you call? And see, you're not going to tell the truth, because the reason why you didn't call, because I, I'm double booked, triple booked, and I couldn't be late for my other appointment. So you're not going to tell them that. You're just going to be hemming and hawing and explaining, not explaining, but just explaining. I'm sorry. You ain't going to have no excuse, because you want to tell the truth. Look, I was trying to get out of there because I had another signing to go to. But you have no legitimate justified reason for not having that person sign those documents. So you just said, okay, don't sign it, and sent it back. And the person went on back upstairs and started looking at TV, and now the documents are half done, and now the signing company got to send somebody back out there. The signing company's embarrassed. You done bragged about how you this great and that great, and you done demanded extra money, and you didn't get the documents executed properly. That is what hurts us as notaries. So doing full-time notary, you gotta really be on point. And for you new notaries, I'm telling you, just relax, calm down, stop being scared, stop making up excuses why you can't go out here and do this, all of that kind of stuff, and do it. I mean, a lot of y'all are very, very accomplished already. So I just don't see, and after talking to y'all, I don't see, and seeing y'all on the different Zooms and stuff we've done, I just don't see how any of y'all could not be successful at this in some way, shape, or form. I really don't. No one that I've seen on here is crazy. None of that. I'm just serious. Y'all can do this. It's just a matter of you just getting out there and stop getting all hyped up off of this negative information, this wrong information that is out there. This is your business. Do what you got to do, and you're going to be fine. There are great resources out there. If you took training with somebody, then talk to that coach, talk to that person, and have them work with you to get to where you need to be. Okay? It's that simple. And again, I don't believe that you should be having to pay an arm and a leg to anybody to get help. As a community, we should be helping each other. And this to the senior notaries out there, if you've been doing this for 2 or more years and you understand how to do this thing, let people know and help them out. Just take a little time out of your day and just help them out. Okay? People are struggling out here. And if you can get 3 or 4 notaries on point doing what's right, that's going to help you out. That's going to help you out in your state and wherever you're living at, because now there's a couple other notaries out there. It's not going to take business away from you. It actually increases business in your area, because now they know they got some good quality notaries. Because if you got notaries out there that's jacking up stuff, after a while, that company is like, okay, well, I might not even want to do business in this area, because it's costing me more money to do business with these notaries, because they act like they don't know how to get people to sign documents, and they act like they don't know how to stamp and do stuff right. So why should I waste my time as a signing company doing business in that state, in that city, when the notaries are just jacked up? I'll just move over to somewhere else. I'll just cut my losses, and I'll be like, okay, I don't do business in that state. I don't do business in that city. From a business standpoint, that's what some companies do. You notice that it's like, okay, well, this city is not profitable for me, so we pick up and leave. That's what happened with sports teams all the time. We don't get the support that we need. We're taking our team and moving somewhere else. And now you got this huge, big stadium sitting there that's just taking up space. And hundreds of jobs and thousands of jobs are just, it's that simple, So being full-time is lovely, but it is some work. And you really got to be on your A game with this. I'm telling y'all, this ain't nothing to play with. Okay, part-time one isn't nothing to play with, but full-time, whew, you really, really gotta be on point, y'all. So I just wanted to talk to y'all this morning. Thank y'all again for coming to the live that me and the wife did and everything, and apologize for making the notary pay scale plummet because I took that $25 order. Man, that's funny. And to let y'all know that, hey, you can do this. Just get out here, be brave, be bold, take the bull by the horns. This is your business. You can do this thing, okay? All of y'all have it in you. I just don't see any reason why you can't be successful if you just calm down, relax, and just roll with the punches. You will be fine. You will be fine, okay? So much success to y'all. Y'all have a great day. I'm gonna get out here and knock out these 3 signings and hopefully pick up maybe 1 or 2 more. Y'all be easy party people. Peace.